So we've worked with Execunet. We have refined our value proposition, aligned it with the roles that we've targeted precisely with our help. And we have been effective at messaging so that the audience we want to recognizes us. And now we're in the interview phase. Look at us. What's our number one priority there, and how do we get through that and not just
Hmm.
survive it, but thrive in it?
Okay. So, what you said we've done correctly so far is what I like to refer to in the job search as the marketing phase.
Yes.
Okay. Marketing is what gets you in the door. But marketing, good marketing, gets you in the door with the right customer, not anybody who will talk to you.
Right.
Meaning, like if you've worked at some very impressive companies, I like to call those people as shiny object resumes. You might get activity, but oh, we worked at Google, you know, or whatever their version of is of the top company for them to work for. So you have to make sure, first of all, that you got in the door for the right reasons. And that has to do with how well you communicated your value proposition. So I'm going to assume that we're in front of the right customer because
Yes.
there's two reasons that people don't get jobs once they interview beyond the stuff we can't control. Okay. Because there's always stuff we can't control. But the stuff we can control, the two biggest fails are it wasn't the right interview for you to begin with. Well, we solve that on the front end by making sure it's your value proposition that got you there in the first place. Because remember those three topics. Then the other reason is that they didn't get the value proposition communicated. They talked about their background a lot, but not their value proposition. Now, the reason that this is the most common fail is because that is how you interview in transactional level. So when you go sit with a hiring manager as a staff level person, you do need to sell your past success so that that hiring manager knows, okay, that is definitely what we need for this success. Stakeholders don't know that. Stakeholders, all they're going to do is go, wow, that's impressive, but probably not right for us if their company they don't feel matches that company. So that's when that works okay in the apples to apples. But a lot of times with apples to apples, you'd be surprised, especially in today's world, that offer is going to come in low. And so what we want to do is treat it like the sales situation that it is. And there's one way that will sell you every time if you are in front of your true value proposition match. And that is to stop talking about your past and start peeling back the layers of the onion on their problem. Now, the reason that this works is because if you don't know what you're talking about, you will immediately be exposed because they know when you're not asking the right questions. However, if you do know what you're talking about, you are immediately exposed. So now they're not trying to match you with your past to their company. They're not trying to picture themselves in your past. They're picturing you in their future. Now, if what you're talking about, they're starting to get the feel, and I'll give you the feedback I would get as a recruiter. Wow, he just totally gets us. I had one CFO tell me we have to hire her. Well, why? It's a complete opposite background that you told me you wanted. He said, no one else thought to ask the question she did. She thinks like the person we need.
Mm.
So it's a lot of asking questions. Now, unfortunately, that isn't always going to do the job because it's not always the best candidate that did the best job in the interview that's going to get the offer. It's going to be the one, and this is a specific to executive level, who whose internal advocate did the best job at selling you when you were no longer in the room. Because even if you came in through a network connection, that decision has to be a buy-in decision, and they want it to be everybody's decision. And so 90 plus percent of the conversation, you're not even going to be in the room for. And that's why there's the big push for the one pager. That's why you want to have a one pager cheat sheet, if you will, for that person that interviewed you to be able to sell you when you're not in the room. And if you're using your resume to do that, they're just going to default right back to talking about your past to try and sell you with the past to their, and because they're going to be excited about you, but people don't remember what you said. They remember how they felt. They remember, like, oh, yeah, Tony's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Oh, yeah, she totally gets us. Oh, yeah, all this emotional stuff. But when they go to get the buy-in, they need to have the backup. They need to be able to say it the way you said it.
Yeah, so if you're listening to Saundra and wondering what kind of one pager and how can do that? I don't know where to begin. The good news is you don't have to. That's what we're here for. So everything from the one pager and dialing back to that very difficult work. I know it sounds pretty, pretty simple, but it's not easy, right? Just tell a good story about yourself, tell a value proposition, a story that helps people see and recognize, as Sandra just said, you're a part of their future, and it's not for everyone, it's for just certain someone's. That's difficult work. But that's what Sandra and her team are extraordinarily great at. So, yes, I'm inviting you to follow that link that will send you a couple of times, I'm sure, and let us know where you are and where you'd like to go, and we're going to help you get there. That's what we do.